John coming to you from Evolved Custom Rod Shop, showing you part 2 of my fly rod wood grip cork build. First thing I need to do to make this fighting butt on this fly seat is measure the blank. What that's going to tell me is that's going to give me the diameter hole to drill. Now I want to go almost as deep as this blank. So what I did was I marked it with a piece of tape. I'm going to go in, and again, I'm doing this on the lathe just to make sure everything's centered to that blank. Make sure it fits the blank. We're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the tenon. I'm just using my parting tool to cut the tenon. This is to fit in my chuck, because the chuck I have in there is intended for drilling. It's not intended for actually cutting with your lathe. So I'll change my chuck jaws, get it locked in there. Now this part, I literally have that tailstock just barely touching the edge. With that center, I can literally dig into the back of the blank, but I don't want to do that because that's going to be a finished end. So I'm just putting it there for a little bit of stability. There's not a whole lot of pressure on it. It's just in case. What I'm doing is I'm just shaving this down. I'm using my parting tool to dig down, and then using my round nose file to shape it. This fighting butt is going to be part arbor, so it's going to act as an arbor on the tail end of the fly reel seat. That way I don't have to use as much tape. It'll be more a one piece. I could do an arbor all the way up, but the problem with a lot of fly reel seats is the inserts in them. It changes diameter on the inside, so it's just as easy to use tape. So I'm cutting it down and checking it, cutting it down. Take your time with this, because remember, we drilled a hole through there. It's completely hollow inside. Okay, so it's very fragile. You do not want to put too much pressure on there. It'll break, and then you'll have a piece of wood flying across the shop. We don't need that. Just take your time. Keep measuring. Take your time. Remember that if this breaks, you got to start all over again. But if you just take a little bit longer and take your time, you can have a finished product. Doing some final shaping here. Doing some final sanding. As you notice, I've just pulled the tailstock away. There wasn't much pressure on it, so it wasn't doing all that much. I got it very secure in the chuck. I'm going to do all my finish sanding right here, all the way to 240 grit. I'm trying to get it down to the size of the inside of the reel seat, but I'm having some issue with the sandpaper because this is ebony. It's a very hard wood. It sands and polishes real nice, but trying to make an indent on it with sandpaper is a near impossible task. So if you notice, once I finish my sanding off, I'll actually come back with my parting tool again and try to get that arbor a little bit smaller. This is a real finished product. It looks awesome. And it's much more custom than buying something. As you can see here, I got to bring this down a little bit more. So I'm being very, very, very careful. I don't have the live center on it. I'm all finished sanding. You see there, I got my diameter I need. I'll still put a quick sand on it just so it's somewhat smooth, and then call it a day. Grab my flush cut saw, which you saw me use in the previous video, and I'll just hang on to that while I cut it, and you see it comes right off. Now we're going to go into the shop and finish it. This is what I did with the other part that I did. I'm using Helmsman spar urethane. And you know, I'm not doing anything really special here. I'm just taking a paper towel, making sure my polyurethane's good and mixed. But I'm just taking a paper towel and wiping it on here. Just getting good coverage. Remember, this is going to take several coats. You could use a brush at this point. I just don't feel like cleaning brushes. You could use some disposable brushes, but I'll just get it on here. Works really well. Come back with some 240 grit or 220 grit sandpaper and just rough it up. Okay, this is going to help that second coat adhere. Okay, just rough it up. You don't have to do anything. You don't pull out the power sanders or anything like that. You can do this as many times as you want. I ended up doing 3 coats. On the third coat, I did use a brush finish. I felt it turned out a little bit better, gave a little bit smoother finish than the paper towel. But you got to find what works for you. Once this is all glued up on the fly blank, I'll cork seal it and finish off the rod, put the guides on, and have a totally custom piece. And it's really awesome, and I think it turned out really well. At the end here, I'm going to have some finished photos of it. This was before cork seal. I've not put the cork seal on yet, but it is installed on the blank there, and I think it just looks fabulous against this American Tackle Matrix fly blank. It's an 8-weight. I know the customer is going to love this. Guys, please like and subscribe. I'll put out videos as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching.